Hello and welcome to another installment of the Palladium Rift by Grinning Gecko Roll20 character sheet tutorial videos. Today I'm going to be talking about importing and exporting, which is a godsend as a GM. It allows you to reuse NPCs, quickly populate your game with NPCs, as well as literally reusing any modifier you've ever added to a character before in another character. You can just kind of mix and match things. So let's get started. Let's talk about exporting first. So you can see here that we have these three characters I created for previous demos. So let's just use the Devil. So we can see here that, got some things populated, skills, a little bit of notes there, combat skills, abilities, magic, psionics, nothing, modifiers. This was in a Three Galaxies game, so you can see there's some Naruni things and a heavy phase beamer. And then, we have the armor profile, armor profiles. So all we need to do is go to the options tab here, and then we click export. The export process is usually pretty quick, and it creates a JSON file. You can look up what JSON is, JSON, somewhere else. But it creates a file like this, or output like this, which you can save to a file. And then you can essentially, you have a copy of this character outside of the game. You can import it back into another game, or you can kind of mix and match with what I'm going to show you now. Before you do import this, one of my recommendations is when you go to save this as a file, you can see here there's a lot of attributes that have like 0 as a value. That really isn't a valid value. That's just kind of the default. If you import like this, it's actually going to go and populate all of those attributes with the value of 0, which will make the sheet slower because it has a lot more attributes that it needs to process. So I've created a little tool here. I'll link this below. It's publicly available, where you can paste. So just grab this, copy this, paste it into here, and then what it does is it cleans the JSON. So it will remove all of the empty attributes and just kind of clean things up for you so that when you do import it, it's a lighter sheet. So you hit clean, and you can see here that up the top here, you can see where a bunch of 0 values here, but you can see that they are not included in the output. So once you do this, then you would just copy this and save it as a file somewhere. Just call it something .json or .text or whatever you want. And then we can take this output and go back into the game, and we can create a new character. Save that. And then paste that in, and we import. And you can see this message here. Some of these, if you're importing a very large character, then you want to open the developer tools in your browser, Control-Shift-I, and you can see that it's like scrolling through. That means that the importing is not really done yet, and it's still processing. The import can take a while. On a small sheet, it's quick, but on a larger sheet, it can take a while. Once you see the messages stop scrolling here, then the import's done. So you can go back and you can take a look. You have your skills, equipment, everything that you just exported, you've now imported. So you can move characters back and forth between games like this pretty easily. But this isn't as good as it gets. So I'm going to switch to a few that I already have open here. So you can see here, I've created a bunch of different JSON files that I'll go through in a minute. So this one, Condoroid, it's a pretty straightforward one. It's similar to the Devil. I've created it and I, exported it, and you can just go in and create a character and import. And that one was pretty quick. So you can see here that it's all imported. Psionics. So, again, you don't want to set these things up every time. So it's nice to be able to do this. You can copy, you can use Roll20's transmogrifier or whatever it's called, but this allows you to save things outside of Roll20 and reuse them in different games. So that's the sort of basics on importing and exporting. if you see here, I'll actually import another character that I have from another game, um, who is a wolf in Quatoria, and his sheet is very heavy. Like he's got a lot of modifiers. So when you import something like that, it is going to take a while. So you go in back here and import, and you can see this is scrolling. I can't even get to the bottom of it because it's scrolling so much. Um, yeah, so anyway, this takes a minute, a few minutes, but it definitely can take a while. So you just kind of keep watching this scroll by until all of the messaging stops. Okay, looks like that might be the end of it. So now we can go up here. We can see that, yes, we are populated, all these skills, equipment, combat skills, abilities. I like to use emoji in my modifiers just because it helps me kind of quickly see what something relates to. Um, you know, magic, he doesn't have any, no psionics, modifiers, lots of weapons, and profiles. So one thing that importing doesn't do is it does not recreate your profiles. It will populate the modifiers, it will populate your armor, but the profiles you're going to need to recreate. The reason is complicated, but suffice to say that you will need to recreate your profiles. So, you know, you kind of go in here and create your first default profile, and I tend to put my modifiers, I try to order them so that like stuff default is at the beginning, but the import does not respect that either. So you might want to reorder these if you need to, but you know, you go through and you choose Quatoria bonuses, blah, 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 whatever, apply them, and then, you know, you have your profile. So that's kind of again, basics of importing. And again, remember that you do need to recreate your profile. Now let's talk about selective importing. Actually, before we do that, one other thing about importing that's nice is that it's not destructive. So if I import something into, like import a sheet, import a character into a sheet, and then I want to import more on top of that, I can do that. Like if I have a bunch of skills that I want to import or something. So let me start off by creating a Sunaj Assassin. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a new character. And I already have things set up for True Atlantean and Sunaj Assassin. So first of all, True Atlantean, this is going to give you the base True Atlantean abilities. So we import that first. That was quick. I think I just did this already, so it's probably cached, which is why it's quick. But you know, you get basics here, the True Atlantean abilities, yeah, skills, basic skills that they get, etc. So we then go back and we add Sunaj Assassin on top of this. So in order to do this, what I actually did is I created, you know, a True Atlantean sheet and then exported that. And then I created a standalone sheet with the Sunaj Assassin skills and abilities and exported that. So I kind of did separate things here, but it allows me to reuse. So, and it allows me to layer. So I can import the True Atlantean first, and then I go and I paste in the Sunaj and I import that. And that is, it looks like it's still importing. Yeah. There we go. So now you can see here we have the Sunaj skills on top of all of the Atlantean skills. You can see we've got this hand-to-hand assassin from the Sunaj. Additional notes here that I've added about future skill selection. You can see here the True Atlantean abilities go from up to around here, or maybe here. And then we have the Sunaj abilities that come in next. Sunaj, some basic Sunaj tattoos. They don't get psionics by default. Modifiers, profiles, options. So again, profiles, we have the modifier picker, but you need to recreate the profile itself. Now let's talk about selectors. So again, let's go back to this, and I have a list of all of the tattoos that I've created. So I basically, to make this list, I literally just went into Magic and I populated, I added a tattoo, and then I filled in all the specifics. I did that over and over again, and then I exported the entire thing. So then you have like a list of tattoos. So you go into the import selector, which I'll link this and the other page below as well, and you paste the JSON object in there, and then it gives you a list of, make this smaller, a list of all the tattoos that you can select. So say I wanted, I mean, whatever, I'm just gonna select randomly, sure that, you know, okay, so I selected a bunch of tattoos and I submit, and I now have a JSON object with just those tattoos. So if I go back to my demo, my Roll20 sheet, and I go back into options and I import what I just selected, it's just going to import those tattoos that I selected. So we'll go back up here and go to Magic, we can see that now it added all these tattoos. So you can basically create your own library of spells, psionics, you know, tattoos, whatever. I have my own personal library. I have like a lot of things in there, and I honestly wish I could share it with everyone, but you know, since it's probably considered copyright material, unless Palladium wants to talk to me about you know, working together on this sheet, and you know, perhaps you know, offering this through Roll20, through the compendiums, you know, you're gonna have to make your own library. So once you've done that, you now have, you know, a way to optionally select everything. If I then want, if I say I've made a mage and I made this guy and I'm like, you know what, I want to have, I want to separate this off. I want to create my Atlantean profile and my Sunaj profile because I haven't, you know, let's say I didn't do that yet, like I didn't save those. So I can export this, and I can then take this into my cleaner, clean it, and then take this into my import selector. And you can see here now I can select literally anything. So I could say like, all right, well, these things are part of the Atlantean. So I'm going to select these. Yeah, so those are all part of just being an Atlantean. I mean, this technically is as well. I don't have the other one in there. But you know, you can see here, these are all the Atlantean abilities. So I select all these. And anyway, and then actually probably like this. And then we submit that, and then now this is just an Atlantean. So if I take this back to Roll20, create a new character, import, see now that I have the Atlantean skills, Atlantean abilities, tattoo. So yeah, you can basically select any number of modifiers, mix and match, import them. You know, if your players have created characters, wizards, for example, and they've populated a bunch of spells, you can take their sheet and just export all the spells together and, you know, save them somewhere so that you can selectively add them to another character in the future. So that's about it. I hope this was valuable. I use this feature all the time. Oh, one other thing I should mention is that when you do import, sometimes just because there's a lot of like network activity and attributes are updating quickly, sometimes attributes or modifiers get lost. So you want to double check. You just want to, you know, compare what you think you were importing to what you did import, especially if you're importing a lot of things. Usually if you're only importing 5 or 6, it'll be pretty good. But you know, you might want to double check your skill list against what the skills should actually be and make sure that nothing is missing. Because like I said, sometimes it does drop a modifier or two. But yeah, that's about it. I hope this was valuable. Like I said, I use this all the time, super useful. I have a huge library of, you know, completed monsters and classes and races and spells and all that kind of stuff that I can just mix and match and select from and use in any game. So again, thank you, and hopefully it won't be this long between this video and the next installment. Thanks again.